All right, so for the TI Inspire, the one that you have, there are ways to solve quadratic equations. Let me show you some of those. First off, grab a graph. Let's look at a graph. Because remember your ticket out the door? What's the solution to a quadratic equation? Where it crosses the x-axis. So if I can visually see where it crosses the x-axis, I could potentially know if it's easy to look at. So let me look at it here. I'm going to pull one right out of your homework, just so this will help you. Type in, we're going to enter a function, x squared minus 6x minus 7. Now, before I ever hit enter, could you factor that in your brain? What is that? X and x minus 7 plus 1? Would that be a minus the 7 and a plus 1? Which means if I set those equal to 0, I bet it crosses at positive 7 and negative 1. I'll hit enter, and there it is. It's crossing the x-axis at negative 1 and at positive 7. Those would be the solutions. Now, there are other ways for you. Sometimes where it crosses the x-axis is hard to see. It might be at a fraction. So, let's add a page. And let it be a calculator. This is the coolest trick. So, we have learned in this lesson, if you can factor, you can set those factors to equal to 0, and you can see the solution. These darn calculators that you have access to have other ways. Hit menu. You see this window? In this window, I'm going to look at some of the algebra options. Number 3. And numerical solve. We've done that already. You've seen what numerical solve does for you. Solve systems of linear equations. We never used it that way. We did RREF. Polynomial tools. That's what I'm interested in because this is a form of a polynomial. It's a quadratic polynomial. So I'm going to go to 3. And look at that. Find roots of a polynomial, real roots of a polynomial, or complex roots of a polynomial. I'm just going to go with 1 for now. You can get to it other ways. We're going to go with 1. Real roots of a polynomial. What degree, what is the largest degree? When you ask for the degree of the polynomial, it's the highest degree. Degree being the exponent. 2. These are quadratics, so they have a degree, a highest degree of 2. We want the real roots, so hit enter. And here is a standard form quadratic polynomial. And it's asking for a of 2, a of 1, a of 0. Those are the coefficients of the quadratic. Those, again, the first one was 1, tab down. The second one was negative, not minus, negative 6. And the third one was negative 7. Hit enter. Does that look familiar? Well, you've seen stuff like that before on the numerical solve. This is polyroot solve. Thankfully, we talked about how roots is a synonym to solution. And it's got that. There's your polynomial. There's the argument for x. You hit enter. Looky there. Negative 1 and 7. That's also where we already have seen where it crosses the x-axis. Pretty nice way of getting there, isn't it? This calculator can help you find the solutions through understanding that is the roots of the polynomial. There is one on your homework. I'm going to give it you in just a second. That looks like this. So go ahead and let's talk about it. It says 16 x squared equals 56x. Now, with it looking like this, something we need to discuss. In order to find the zeros, the answers to solutions, you have to get everything on one side and set this quadratic equation equal to 0. 0. So I can go either way. I can take the 56 this way or the 16x squared this way. Let's just move the 56 this way. So 16x squared would be minus 56x equals 0. This is a quadratic equation. I'm going to factor it the first time, just so you can show. I want to show you that if you can factor it, set those factors equal to 0, you can get the solution. Then we're going to put it on our calculator. This isn't a trinomial. We are not going to be going to two binomials. We're not going to two binomials, okay? What we're going to do here, we're going to take out something that starts with a G. What do you think that is? Yeah. We're factoring something that starts with a G. It's 3 letters. Greatest common factor. Thank you. I can take an 8 out of both of those, and I can take an X out of both of those. That would leave, anybody want to guess what it leaves? I take 8X, divide 8X out of 16X squared. What would that leave? 2X, very good, minus 7, still equal to 0. Now I've got my polynomial factored. Set 8x equal to 0. Set 2x minus 7 equal to 0. Set your factors equal to 0. If I divide by 8, 0 divided by anything, x will equal 0. You agree? Over here, I would have 2x equals 7. Divide the 2, x would equal 7 halves. This is one out of your homework. It's a little bit different, so I'm showing you. But according to our factoring, if I set factors equal to 0, just like we set binomials equal to 0, I got 0 and 7 halves. Now, let's go to our calculator approach. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up here and hit enter, so I don't have to re-put that in. And I'm going to change the coefficient of the x squared. It is now 16. And I'm going to change the negative 6x to what? What did I make it? Negative 56x. And what was the last part? There wasn't a constant, was there? I could put plus 0 if I want to remind myself there's no constant, but you don't even have to put that. And let's see if I get the correct answer. Oh, looky here. The roots, or the solutions, would be 0 and 7 halves. And that is what we found through factoring. Yay, it worked. It's all the same. All right. You might have typed it in incorrectly. Make sure I did this earlier. If you don't type it in the right, we have a 16 as our x squared, a negative 56 for our x, and a 0. Okay, there we go. Good, all right.